Hi, I'm Walter Ladner, and I'm going to be talking to you today about the idea of abortion versus the idea of adoption. And hopefully, I can persuade you, the audience, to hopefully think that adoption is the better versus abortion or keeping a child in an unfit household. So just imagine you're a 16-year-old girl, still in high school, no job, no money, still live at home, and your parents are very strict with some of their views about some stuff, especially about teenage pregnancies, and you just found out you're pregnant. What's the first option that comes to your mind? Is it dropping out? Is it dropping out? Is it abortion? Keeping the child and pushing through? Or what? For me, it would be adoption. And adoption really for me is more of a religious view, and that's how I've just been taught. And I really think it's better. It's the better option of all the options on the table through my extensive research on this topic. And it's a topic that I'm very passionate about because, like I said, it's one of my religious views to make sure every human being has a chance to come into this world. And it can also make a big difference on the child's life, the birth parents, and the foster parents or adoptive parents. It can make a huge impact on all three for most of the time better, almost 9 times out of 10 better. And the topics I will be discussing, like I said, is why you shouldn't keep them in an unfit home, abortion, and adoption. So, an unfit household. Many of us know people that have had an unwanted pregnancy at an inconvenient time, sorry, and whether they were in high school or college, not even on their feet yet, financially unstable, or maybe there was a drug problem, whether it was with pills, alcohol, or some herb. And this type of home will likely leave the child malnourished, mentally and or physically abused. SparkAction.org states that in 1995, 21 years ago, nearly 3.1 million children were reported to Child Protective Services as abused or neglected. Abuse could be physically or mentally, and neglected can be as simple as they're not being treated properly with food, water, hygiene, or going to school, or uh, a safe house environment. SparkAction.org also states that substance abuse is the major factor of unfit households 75% of the time, and this causes the child to have to be removed from the household. So the most controversial issue in America since really Roe v. Wade, and especially in the past decade in the political world, is abortion. Now that the U.S. has the highest abortion rates, Guttmacher.org says that 4 out of 10 pregnancies end in an abortion. So that's literally almost half of pregnancies being terminated. Now, granted, they didn't say whether it was because of medical reasons or for the parents or mother saying to end it because they didn't want the baby. So that is very misleading in a sense, but it is still almost half of pregnancies are terminated. Freedom Out Post says that the number of American babies killed by abortion each year is roughly equal to the number of U.S. military deaths that have occurred in all of the wars that the United States has ever been involved in. We have been involved in a ton, I would say a ton of wars, but major wars worldwide as a country, and we are one of the youngest countries out there. And to think that the number of American babies killed by abortion each year is roughly equal to the number of U.S. military deaths in all the wars is almost unfathomable. You really almost ask, like, is this feasible to have this many abortion deaths? And like Dr. Seuss said, quote, and even though you can't see them or hear them at all, a person's a person no matter how small, end quote. Like I said, this goes back to my religious view. I think everybody deserves a chance to be brought into this world, and you just decide on your own whether how you're going to play your cards. And some people are handed the worst cards, but I feel like everybody deserves to be dealt a hand, no matter what. Not all unwanted or unplanned pregnancies have to end so badly, like abortion or living in an unfit household. Adoption is the option. Adoption is always a great option, but sadly, the parents that are adopting the child can pay up to a total of $20,000 or even up to $40,000, depending on certain factors. Babycenter.com reports. And I personally know 3 families that have all adopted from overseas, and the adoption process is also very lengthy. We're talking about, it took, with this one couple I knew, they were family friends. It took them almost 4 years to adopt a child. So that child had to be in an unfit third world country most of the time for almost their whole lifetime, because they try to adopt these children whenever they're younger. But you always want to try to get those people out. But like I said, it's very lengthy and it's a very, very expensive process. $20,000 to $40,000. According to CBSNews.com, there are more than 1.5 million infertile women in the United States, meaning that they have tried getting pregnant without contraceptives for 12 consecutive months and cannot. So adoption is sometimes the only route for some women who want children more than anything. Some people, or couples, or single mothers, whatever the case, they may not want the child, but there's always somebody else out there that wants the child simply because they can't have one. And I feel like that's always something good. And like, I don't want to compare a baby to trash, but I always like to quote, "One man's trash is another man's treasure." I feel like this could really be applied to this, because you may not want the baby or be able to afford the baby, but somebody else can, so why not give them that chance to live? Adoption does not only create benefits for the adoptive parents, but also the children. These children have committed parents in a stable home and may have opportunities that they may not have with a biological parent. So you can put these adoptive kids into better homes and give them a better opportunity than what they could have in their unfit household or whatever the case may be. And just to start wrapping things up, today I've discussed the option of adoption, whether the option of adoption versus the option of abortion or keeping a child in an unfit household. And with adoption, it's never a bad thing. Like I said, the only con to it is it's very lengthy and expensive. But somebody out there, if they really want a child, they're gonna go out and get that child. They're gonna make sure they can do whatever they can to get one. And I really hope I help persuade somebody out there to use the option of adoption versus the option of abortion or an unfit household. Thank you.